My name is Elena Boyd. I am with the UT Center for Profitable Agriculture based in Columbia, Tennessee. If this is your first time joining us on one of our Daring to Learn webinars for the Daring to Learn Value Added Webinar Series, welcome and good morning. This is our August session of Daring to Learn. Our guest speaker today is Ms. Rachel Sullivan from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. If you were with us this morning on the live version of the webinar, this is actually a re-recorded introduction, so no worries if you're seeing something, no need to panic. We had some technical difficulties getting Miss Rachel on this morning, so I am kind of re-recording and giving everybody an intro to our session today. So I will go ahead and tab over to our next page. So Ms. Rachel is joining us from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. She is an executive assistant in the Business Development Division, and I will have her contact information available for you all later in the video. So,
like Elena said, I'm Rachel. I work for the Business Development Division with Andy Holt, and I assist him. One of the many things that I help him with are grants that are running through our division. And as y'all are probably aware, there's lots of grant money that's trickled down from the federal government. So I'll share with you some state-funded grants that we have, and then a federal grant or two that I can talk with you about. So I appreciate Elena for sharing my slides, and I will do my best since I can't see the slides as they go along. But I appreciate y'all having me today and letting me join y'all, and thank you again for your patience. So let's get started. As y'all know, hopefully know, the services that business development provides. We have consultants on our team that consult from anywhere from livestock to international marketing, exporting, to wood products, forest products. We also have food manufacturing consultations. All of that is provided to Tennessee taxpayers at no charge. And we want to, Tennessee agriculture is better when we all work together and help each other be as productive and profitable as possible. So one of the things that we do in business development is administer grants. So our probably, obviously, most popular and most familiar grant to many of you is our Ag Enhancement Grant. And I'm going to see if I can get to the right slide, which I see. So what I'm hoping what y'all are looking at. So in 2005, the legislature, Stratton Bone specifically, and I believe Ken Givens was involved in creating the Ag Enhancement Program. Each year, that program has continued to be funded. It is completely at the mercy of the legislature for that funding. It provides cost share dollars to ag producers for the purpose of making long-term investments on, their farming operations. So we want the investment of those dollars each year. Many of our grants are competitive. This one is not a competitive grant. If you apply and you qualify, meet the qualifications, then you receive the grant funding. So I believe this year there's to the tune of around $20 million. I don't know the exact figure, but quite a bit of money being invested back into Tennessee farms. So when producers choose to participate, it allows them to maximize their farm profits, adapt to different changing market situations. And, one of the keys to being profitable in agriculture is being adaptable. And it also funds improvements for your operational safety, increasing your farm efficiency, and it allows you to make a positive economic impact across the state. Recently, it was last year, we had our most recent return on investment study done by our friends in the Ag Econ office at the University of Tennessee. So, and they were able to tell us on that return on investment that for every dollar that the state invests in TAEP, $6.55 is turned into local economy. So obviously that's a great maximization of the TAEP dollar. We've had more than 80,000 participants participate in the Ag Enhancement Program since 2005, and more than $246 million has been invested throughout the lifetime of the program. So, and I'm going to go to my next slide, Elena. So there are a couple of new things this year. We're in the process now of having the application printed. So application A will be printed, and application B will be online only this year. So, excuse me. And there are a couple of new additions to application A this year. Many of you are familiar with application C, which is poultry grower. That now has been rolled into application A, and swine producer now has a program within the Ag Enhancement Program, which is a first for us this year. So then they changed the name from working structures to, which includes cover and pen, and fence line systems, which was formerly known as permanent working structures. That name change is just to help define what is included in that, or what is eligible under that program. So as y'all know, the program is, application A is wildly popular. There were, I believe, 7,700 applications last year. You probably are aware that hay equipment alternates every other year with hay storage. I believe this year is time for hay equipment again. So there, just to review, there's a dairy solutions, genetics program, hay equipment or storage, herd health, livestock equipment, livestock solutions, row crop solutions, poultry grower, swine producer, and working structures and fence line systems. Now, application A, you can still apply for via paper or online. We hope within the next 2 to 3 years that all applications will be done 100% online. So that would help maximize the dollars from going into administrative cost to maximize that money going to our agricultural producers. So that's a bit of a change that will be coming everyone's way, but we are trying to give advance notice that is going to be the way of the future. So consider yourselves warned. We'll try to make it as user-friendly as possible, and hopefully it won't be the very long application booklet. So also under application A is the beginning farmer option for first-time applicants involved in livestock or row crop production. The person who's been farming less than 10 years and does not meet the current minimum requirements for application A may be eligible for the beginning farmer option for application A. I know that that's can be confusing, but Jan and her team are more than happy to talk with each applicant to help determine whether they qualify for the beginning farmer option. So that's just an effort to continue to help enhance agriculture and to continue agriculture as the #1 industry in our state. So application B this year will still be producer diversification, and Grant Pulse is the contact person for that application or producer diversification program. And it is for producers involved in agritourism, growing fruits and vegetables, honeybees, horticulture, organics, and value-added products. That application is wholly online. So we'll go next to timeline and eligibility. The application period each year is October 1 through 7. That does not change from year to year. So you can mark that down from now till forever, that the application period is going to be October 1 through 7. And the new application materials should be available by the end of this month. You can view those by the end of the month at tn.gov/TAEP. We'll also have animal health techs and a team of TDA employees that will help distribute those applications across the state. Typically, the co-op helps with that distribution as well. So be on the lookout. The applications are at the print shop now, so they'll be hitting the mailboxes in the very near future. Application A and we've already discussed this. Application A features both online and paper applications, and application B requires, excuse me, I told you wrong, it's a paper submission, and there is additional documentation that's needed, including a proposal template, a budget, cost quotes, and that have to be submitted along with the application form. Application B is competitive, so depending on the number of applications each year that application B receives will determines how that money is, how those awards are granted. So under eligibility, applicants must meet basic eligibility and specific program requirements as outlined very thoroughly in the application materials that you'll receive in your mailbox, or that you can view online in the coming weeks. So the full application should be available on the website before it hits your mailbox. So maximums, and let's discuss maximums and cost share percentages. Each program has a reimbursement maximum, and the current maximums range from $1,500 to $12,000. The amount of that maximum is based on a cost share percentage, whether it's 35% or 50% of actual expenses incurred for the eligible program items up to the program maximum. So, and it also depends too on how many applications we get per program area, because we are allotted one set pot of money, and then we have to divide that up between the applicants and the program areas to which they're applying. The standard producer cost share percentage is 35%. The master producer cost share percentage is 50%. So applicants wanting to qualify for the 50% cost share must complete the eligible master producer certification or special requirement. The educational certification is required at the time of reimbursement and not at the time of application. So just to make sure you understand that if you apply October 1 through 7 and you do not have your certification, it's okay, because that is not needed until you send in your reimbursement request. So because everybody who meets the minimum eligibility requirements, the program purchases can be made starting October the 1st, which is the beginning of the application period. But it must be completed, all purchases must be completed by the final reimbursement deadline for the program that they've been approved for. So there are a couple of different reimbursement request deadlines. Livestock equipment and hay equipment is April 1. Genetics deadline is June 1. And the rest of the programs have a reimbursement request deadline of August 1. So right now, as we speak, our friends in the Ag Enhancement Office are busy processing those reimbursement requests that have come in within the last week. So, excuse me, Approval notifications are announced in mid-December, and then the reimbursement packets are mailed in January. The reimbursement packet includes approval documentation and reimbursement instructions. And after you receive the packet, the reimbursement request can be submitted once the project is completed. There's only one reimbursement request per annual cycle. So some of our grants, we allow multiple reimbursement requests. This is a one request grant program because there are so many people that participate in the program. Reimbursement requests must be submitted prior to the final reimbursement request deadline for the program that you've been approved for. The reimbursement requests include a program-specific documentation. You must provide a copy of your receipts. You must provide a copy of pictures of your project, your taxpayer information, which includes a W-9, all grants that you may receive from the Department of Agriculture qualify you to be the lucky recipient of a 1099 each year. And you will also have to submit with your educational certification if you have chosen to get that additional certification. Each reimbursement request is going to be audited for project eligibility to make sure that the purchase fell within the dates of the program. So there, let me remind you, don't make any purchases prior to October 1st that you want to be reimbursed for in this next program year, because that is automatically excludes you from being eligible for a reimbursement. So you also will, let's see, lost my place in my notes, so give me just a second. Each reimbursement request is audited for project eligibility, allowable purchase dates, and the visual representation of the project on the farm. Projects may be pre-verified with a farm visit prior to payment if needed. So, and that leads me into our verification process. Because there is a great deal of money invested annually into the Ag Enhancement Program, a verification process has been put in place to protect the taxpayer dollar. Applicants must utilize equipment and structures reimbursed with cost share funds for their intended purpose of the program for a minimum of 5 continuous years from the date of purchase. Site visits relating to the performance of the project before, during, and after completion may take place. Site visits may also include verification of program eligibility to ensure applicants meet eligibility and minimum livestock acreage requirements for the chosen program. So how do we make those verification visits? A random sample is taken annually to ensure that the project usage from previous fiscal years is conducted. Excuse me. Providing false, fraudulent, or misleading information may result in penalties, or make the applicant their operation ineligible to participate in the present and or in the future of any TDA, Tennessee Department of Agriculture programs for a minimum of 5 years. And it could even result in civil litigation or criminal prosecution. So please know that we don't ever want to have to pursue any of those paths. And we hope that everyone will participate in an upright manner so that the legislature never questions their investment into the Ag Enhancement Program each year. So at the end, I'll take questions regarding any of the grants that I talk about. But let's move on now to the farm grant, which is a federal grant that we just rolled out the first round of those contracts. This is part of the federal government's ARP money. The governor and the legislature allocated $50 million of the ARP money to go towards the Department of Agriculture. And so we have used that funding to create the Forestry, Agriculture, and Rural Markets Cost Share Program. So just a couple of program basics. It's a cost share reimbursement program to help ensure the stability of the food and fiber supply chain and agribusiness economy. Because remember, during the ARP funding is a response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and one of the things that was brought to light most prevalently was the instability of the food supply chain. So this money is going to be used to strengthen our supply of food and fiber supply chains across the state. Excuse me. This application and this program is a competitive application process. So with the first round that was awarded in May, we had several hundred applications and we awarded 20 grants. So there are 3 rounds of awards. There was one in May. Our next program round will be in November, and then the last round will be in April. So in November, be looking for November 1, the application portal will open on TDA's website. It will stay open the entire month of November and close on November the 30th, at the end of the day, on November 30th. The business development team will evaluate each of the applications during the month of December and then make a recommendation for the selection of grantees or awardees in December. So the minimum amount awarded for farm, I believe, is $25,000. The maximum amount is $1 million. So this, and there's incentives, and we'll get into it more in just a second, of the percentage of your cost share is determined on whether you live in an at-risk or distressed county, or whether you're in a transitional county. So transitional counties, the cost share is 50%. The at-risk and distressed is the cost share is at 25%. So the projects that are successful will show that they will strengthen and expand Tennessee agriculture and forestry supply chains and the agribusiness economy that was identified through the project narrative. So examples of what we saw were most competitive this last round that took place in April were meat processing, sawmills, and grain elevators, because they have a trickle effect across agriculture. So then it's not just an operation that's helping one person, it's an operation that's helping multiple farmers or multiple foresters across the state. So our round 2 of funding we'll host in October. There'll be a couple of informational webinars scheduled that will tell the ins and outs of the program. November 1, the application portal opens. November 30th, the application portal closes. In December, the award selections are made, and then the awardees would have nearly 2 full years to fully expend the funds. So this program is also a program that there's only one reimbursement request allowed, which is at the end of the project. So I always try to remind people to be cautious of that, because you can't get part of your money out halfway through the project. It's once the project is completed and the project is fully operational is when the applicant is, or the awardee is, eligible to submit their reimbursement request. So there's a different scoring metrics that we look at when scoring the applications. Like I mentioned before, a county of origin, which determines at-risk or distressed, a percentage increase in the operation, the impact on Tennessee's food and fiber supply chain, and the project readiness, as well as collaboration with industry and community partners. So we feel like when you collaborate with industry and community partners, your project is strengthened. So and we consider industry partners our partners at the Center for Profitable Agriculture, our partners in the UT Extension across the state. So those subject matter experts help make the applicant's project stronger, so and more relevant to the needs across the state. So we want to give some emphasis to that, which is something I don't recall the department doing before, but it's obviously it is important. So we'll go next to the next grant that I want to talk to you about is the Agricultural Enterprise Fund. It is a state-funded grant, and with a purpose of to give AEF awards to starting or expanding agricultural, food, and forestry businesses, nonprofits, local governments, and other entities across the state, are those whose projects will be located in Tennessee. It focuses on value-added and processing projects that benefit other producers and forest landowners. Successful grant recipients must demonstrate a strong potential for impact on local farm income, access to markets, increased capacity, or agricultural innovation. Priority is going to be given to businesses located in at-risk or distressed counties and counties that adjoin at-risk or distressed counties. An example of that would be recently someone was awarded in one of our rural counties, but not an at-risk or distressed county, was awarded the at-risk or distressed designation because they were a milk producer, and people that were in those adjoining at-risk and distressed counties did not have access. This operation was the closest access to whole milk that the residents in the community around could have access to. So the department selected to give them the at-risk or distressed county designation because of their effect in those adjoining at-risk and distressed counties. The successful projects are going to show an increase in farm income by offering farmers higher commodity prices than other markets, processing value-added products for farmers, or allowing a single farmer to add value to their own farm products. Other successful projects will show an increased access to markets, projects that will create or expand a market for Tennessee farmers or forest landowners, including reducing miles that a farmer must transport their product to market or create a new market entirely. Increased capacity is also viewed as a successful project. Projects will expand the capacity of an existing agricultural, food, or forestry business, including production or processing capacity, or increasing the number of employees, because obviously that has a direct effect on the local economy as well. And ag innovation is also important to market a new technological innovation with the potential to impact Tennessee agriculture or forestry industry by creating efficiencies in production and reducing costs. A successful project will increase farm income for local farmers, enhance access to agricultural markets, and increase capacity of their business, or contribute to the agricultural industry through innovation. The AEF funds may not exceed 25% of the project's total budget. Applicants must submit project updates to measure impact of the grant. Relocation projects are not eligible. Applicants must purchase at least 25% of any ag inputs from Tennessee producers, and they must use the equipment awardees must use the equipment and structures for a minimum of 5 continuous years from the date of purchase. And there again, the department has the option to verify that those things are occurring. So, if we take protecting the taxpayer dollar very seriously, so we want to make sure that this money invested it turns into a successful project that enhances all of Tennessee agriculture. We'll also mention that AEF this year received an additional allocation from the legislature. We in business development are busy standing up that enhanced program this year. I believe there's going to be about $17 million in ag enterprise fund money this year. So we're looking to fund some larger projects that have greater impact. So it won't be as small of a program maximum. Right now, up until now, the program maximum for AEF has been $50,000. So we want to obviously the program maximum for the upcoming rounds is going to be quite a bit higher. We look to get all of that money out the door this year, or allocated at this fiscal year with the state. So the state's fiscal year just started July 1 and will end next June 30th. So be looking, you can check out program information at tn.gov/AEF. We will have that new information up in the coming weeks. And I believe our next application deadline for AEF will be October the 10th. One of the last programs to talk about is the Specialty Crop Block Grant. That is USDA funded, so federally funded, and the TDA administers that grant on behalf of USDA. The purpose is to enhance the competitiveness of specialty crops. So you might ask, what are specialty crops? So anything that fruits, vegetables, tree nuts, dried fruits, horticulture, and nursery crops. So who qualifies to apply for specialty crop block grants? Universities, institutions, cooperatives, producers, industry, or community-based organizations are eligible to apply. And what we like to see in that program is research and strides and innovation that help not just the university or not just help the cooperative, but those ideas and the research can be taken and shared across the state to help the greater, to help for the greater good. So who doesn't qualify? This program is not designed for startups or projects that only benefit one operation. We want this money to be invested in research, in technique, and then that be shared with others. And this is also, Specialty Crop is also a competitive program. Successful proposals will directly impact multiple Tennessee producers. Projects must be forward-thinking and have a positive, long-lasting impact on Tennessee agriculture. Many of you are friends with and are aware that Debbie Ball has run this program for several years for the Department of Agriculture. Debbie has recently retired. So right now we are in the process of hopefully hiring someone to administer grants for us, because we have quite a few grants dollars running through the division now. So we will certainly miss Debbie, and I know y'all will as well. So I wanted to share a couple of websites with y'all. And I believe Elena is going to share my slides. So there should be hyperlinked where you can just click on them, or you can obviously type them in your browser as well. We try to keep that as up to date as possible. Please remember that the new application for TAEP won't be online for the next couple of weeks. So, and then it'll surely be in your mailbox by the end of this month. So, again, emphasize the next application deadline for AEF is going to be October the 10th, and the farm grant, the next round of applications will be due, or the application portal will be open for the month of November. So I believe specialty crop those applications are reviewed and selected in the spring of the year. So here's some website addresses if you have questions. You can email the Ag Enhancement Office. You can, honestly, if you email the AEF email address, the farm email address, the specialty crop email address, they're all going to come to me. So you can either choose to email them directly, or you can email me directly. You're also very much welcome to call me at any point. And I did not list my phone number, but I'm glad to share that with anybody that would like to call. So with that, one other grant that I thought might be of interest to the attendees today is the Local Food Purchase Assistance initiative. That is USDA dollars again, but the state was allocated. You can't apply directly for LFPA, but you can participate in the program. So LFPA is, the state of Tennessee was awarded $8.2 million in grant money to assist with providing food to our food insecure neighbors. So the Department of Agriculture contracted with the 5 food banks that, in case you don't know, every Tennessean is covered by a food bank. So we contracted with those 5 food banks to implement the Local Food Purchase Assistance. Where you might choose to participate is by contacting your local food bank and letting them know, I have X number of pounds of beef that I could sell you. I have so many pounds of fluid milk that I could sell you. Whatever you are raising or growing, they're looking for fruits and vegetables. They cannot, the program, processed foods does not qualify under LFPA, so it's going to be straight from the farm food products. So now obviously it can be, the meat can be processed, but breads, baked goods are not eligible items. But so I wanted to mention that. So if you want to reach out to your local food bank and need that contact person, just reach out to me and I'll connect you with the local food bank, so that hopefully it will be a great partnership. That grant is a 2-year grant, or until all of the $8.2 million is expended. But hopefully it will create those relationships within that 2 years, that the relationship can continue after the grant program is over. So with that, I'm going to be at Elena's mercy to let me know what the questions are, and I'll do my best to answer those. It may be where I just say, let's follow up offline. So, but I'll do my best to answer any questions that y'all have.
Yes, so if any of you guys have any questions now, you should have the option to raise your hand. So this is a webinar. It's a little bit different than a normal Zoom, but you should be able to raise your hand and ask questions. And also, Rachel did mention, oh, we've got a hand raised. All right, looks like Tammy Stone has a question. Tammy, I'm going to let you talk. So you can go ahead. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
I was wondering if we could get Rachel's phone number.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's It's 615. And Elena, if you don't mind to put it in the chat box, that's perfectly fine with me. 615-837-5336.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, so that I have put her number over in the chat box, and if anyone else has any questions, you can raise your hand. We've got a couple more minutes here. But also, like Rachel said, you guys will be getting the PowerPoint slides from today. I'll get those out in our post-webinar email. And this recording will also go up on YouTube. So if there's anything you want to go back later and look at, I will get the YouTube link to you guys as well. So if we don't have any more questions, I am going to go ahead and pull up the QR code for our session evaluation. And I appreciate you all for bearing with us today. This was a little abnormal, but like Rachel said earlier, technology is great when it works. And that's only sometimes. So if you guys have been on one of our sessions before, you kind of know the drill. You can scan this QR code. It'll take you to our webinar evaluation. I know in past sessions, you guys have had trouble being able to fill out for the current month's webinar. I went ahead and made sure you can fill out the form for this month and all the previous sessions. So it'll be the same link. But feel free to fill this out, especially if you're getting TAEP credit for these sessions. So our Daring to Learn webinars do qualify for a TAEP credit. I will have more info about that for you guys in our post-session email. So be on the lookout for that. And otherwise, we will see you next time on September the 12th.
Thank y'all very much for letting me be with y'all today.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. This was great. So I will go ahead. I'll stop recording now, and be on the lookout for an email from me later today.